from the last several months. 94 out of 107 cases that were filed were against black people, which says that we have 94 sworn officers. Roughly about 4 of them are African American. So 90% of the officers that are making these arrests are white officers on African American people. And as we know, they do these pretextual judgment stops in the first place. So then, not only are they stopping you because of your race, you're also more likely to be abused with some level of force because of your race.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you there.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop. We'll take a moment for anybody have any questions, because it's pretty kind of laid out. Give him a big hand. I think that's Dr. Richard Montgomery. And I want to acknowledge some other folks who have just come into the room before we move on. There's my chairman of my deacon board, Deacon Marvin Freeman. And I thought I saw Pastor Gator. Come on up, Pastor Gator is president of our Baptist Pastors Council. Come up and sit close. And we also have a councilwoman from the city of Euclid, our dear friend and sister, Sister Stefana Cavanagh. She's here, all right? Give her a big hand. She's here. She's been fighting this fight. She sits on the city council in Euclid, and she's been fighting this fight anyway. We have a model of doing things. It's the King model, and that's why I make sure Bishop Macon and we follow this, because it's the way to do. Before we just go and attack folks, we got to first give our information, and then we have to meet with those folks and see what they're doing about the situation. Those steps have already been done and have been done with Richard Montgomery. They have laid this out. He's done an investigation on his own. So they've been working on this with the mayor, and there was some commitments that were supposed to have been made about listening sessions, right, Richard Montgomery?
Yes, sir. I'm about to put the timeline up.
Okay, let's do that.
So in August, I asked the mayor personally, and that's the link, to do a review of the department. So in August 2017, right after the Richard Hubbard incident, I came to City Council and addressed the mayor, asking her to do a review of the department. By December, she had not done anything, so we actually formed a community group called the Euclid Community Action Team, and we made up a plan that we presented to the mayor for what we wanted to do in terms of change with the police department as well as other areas of Euclid. In November, the Channel 5 reporter did a use of force investigation and found that 13 officers in Euclid's police accounted for 80% of the uses of force. And I found that in the data as well.
And then she said she was going to do listening sessions, correct?
She said she was going to do in November, she also mentioned she was going to do listening sessions. And Channel 5 came about 3 weeks ago, did a report where she had not done any of the listening sessions.
All right, and there's a safety committee supposed to be with the citizens from Euclid on it, is that right?
Well, there's a use of force committee that she formed. In response to the use of force allegations against the department, she said she was going to implement a program called procedural justice. She was going to do listening sessions, and there was a use of force committee developed. I came when I found out there are no citizens on this committee, which means there's no oversight. And when I met with her, they don't even have a regular meeting schedule. And this was in January when I met with her.
Okay.
It's monthly.
And there's a monthly meeting. Okay, thank you, Mr. Montgomery. There's a monthly use of force meeting, and have you all been meeting?
They have been meeting.
And what has happened as a result?
Brian Moore is one, and also Laura Gorshey is another person on council who have met with them on a monthly basis.
And has anything happened?
May I
Come on.
say something?
Yes, you may.
Because I appreciate what Dr. Montgomery is doing, and
We'll let you come and get the mic.
thank you. Good morning. I'm Stefana Cavanagh, and I sit on. Thank you. I chair the Public Safety Committee, and I do understand, as the gentleman spoke before our council meeting on Monday night, our past council meeting, we are not oblivious to the concerns of the residents of Euclid. About 4 years ago, I spoke with the mayor about forming a community relations task force. It took us about a year to establish that one, and it consists strictly of residents in Euclid. And that task force was developed at the meeting where Dr. Montgomery attended and the mayor was in the audience. That was when that task force was presented before the residents. And they were to hear the complaints concerning Mr. Hubbard. And that was supposed to be the start of, because I mentioned to her that with the DOJ coming in, with the issues that we had with the police department at that time, we needed to have something that we developed so that we can do that oversight of the police department. Unfortunately, because I'm on council, I do not work with the administration, and unfortunately, the administration at this time did not see the importance of it. All right, so that is where we're working right now to get that community relations task force back on track to where they need to be.
That was over a year ago?
And that was over a year ago when Mr. Hubbard was attacked. But
How many meetings had the task force had?
The meetings, the task force had met for almost a year prior to that happening. And so we really need to get them back on track because that's what we need in our community right now. It consists of many persons throughout the entire city, gender, ethnicity, a wide range of that. So we all overview that.
Okay.
But one thing.
All right, I want to show this video because we
all right.
don't have the time thing. So there's a task force. One of our asks should be that task force is re-implemented.
Right.
The reason how we got engaged, I wanted to kind of lay the stage, is because, and can we get ready to show this video? A member of our staff, this has been going on, has not been an issue for the Cleveland Clergy Coalition or all of us together. I know those folks have been working on this issue, so we want to join those folks who are already currently working on this issue. And we want to make sure Pastor Maiden, who has a church here, is aware of what's happening. So what happened, what you heard the history of, on June 26th of this year, our staff member who lives in Euclid was driving too slow. She was driving too slow because she was driving Dr. Matthews and saw some young boys, young youth being stopped by the Euclid Police. And so she looked and recognized one of these young men because the young man knows her daughter. So she's driving, looking at what's happening. The police officer yells at her and says, "What are you looking at?" She says, "What are you looking at?" And next thing you know, they pull her over. They actually give her a ticket. It's on the record for driving too slow. And can you show this video? That's just, if you haven't seen this, I don't want the news story, the other one. Here we go.
See, you got her down. Why you gotta keep doing that shit? You already hit her in the face a couple times.
Stop stinging me. Baby, back up. Stop stinging me.
Hey, you saw the whole thing.
Stop stinging me.
Yeah.
Stop stinging
Nah,
me.
that shit ain't no camera.
Stop stinging me. They keep stinging me. They keep stinging me. They keep, can you just please allow him to take this off my leg?
Stop biting me.
They keep stinging me.
Why don't we just get her?
They're stinging me.
Smother.
I'm not fighting him.
You
I'm not, I did not get your motherfucking neck. Hands off my neck, bitch.
Run over. Help us out. Help us out. God damn. Put your hand behind your back. You're under arrest. Put your hand behind your back. Relax. Shorty bit us twice.
That happened. That is not footage from the Euclid Police Department because their officers are not required to wear body cameras. That is her husband recording his wife being arrested for driving too slow. That's how we got engaged and catapulted into this issue. This is serious business. And to me, if something was done before this, that never happens to our staff member. That's June 26, 2019. They have been aware of this issue, so-called working on this issue, so-called doing something about this issue, but yet this is still going on. Same officers in these other incidents, same ones in this one. Flag and, well, Amiot's in this video?
God damn.
Amiot is the one from the other one. And that's another one.
Sorry.
I didn't see Amiot in that. Yes, ma'am.
Please give me the name of that woman.
She's right there.
Man.
She's right there. She's a member of our staff. She's not that woman. Her name is Shantae Gibson, Lewis Gibson.
Thank you.
All right.
We have those use of force reports for June, so we should have that in our possession, and Dee should have that data on that, so.
Okay.
We didn't know about it.
All right. So that's where we are, gentlemen and ladies. That's why we're here today. I wanted you to be informed that this is what's happening, this is what's not happening, and this is why we're going to go and ask the mayor for some asks today. Now, the mayor has been invited. She's out of town, but we need to document all of this. Now, Richard Montgomery did a great investigation, but we need a internal investigation, a county investigation, a state investigation, and a federal investigation. It's a shame before God a citizen is doing this work. We need the people who are responsible. And by the way, Shantae has been indicted by our county prosecutor for assault on a police officer.
The fuck?
You can't cuss in the sanctuary.
I'm sorry.
That's on the video. We are in God's house, so we respect God's house. She has been, and we're going to be talking to the county prosecutor about that. I don't know how that happened. County prosecutors are friend. I don't know how that happened. But she has been indicted. Yes. And we have her now, our attorney, Tom Colaluca, is preparing a lawsuit on behalf of Shantae against the city of Euclid. That's happening. All right, so that's so you know, we are professional about everything we do. He's here. She has a criminal defense attorney as well. So we have the legal professional folks engaged and involved. We're doing our part by highlighting in the community what's happening and asking for a change. I think Pastor Maiden said it best, we are a thermostat. We are asking for a change from the mayor and holding them accountable. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, did the police know they have this video?
Yes. Yes.
So they see something different than what we see?
I can't answer that question. I understand. I'm going to ask the county prosecutor that question.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know how she got indicted. It took a long time, but that's, you know. So, Tanita, where's Tanita? You're way back there? All right. We're going to ask, one of the demands, I think, can we all agree that we should ask for today is a reinstatement of the task force. Where's?
I'm right here.
A reinstatement of the task force.
Absolutely.
Is there a name of the task force?
Well, actually, Willie Brown.
Willie Brown is the name of the task force?
No. It's the mayor's, but it's, I'm sorry. This gentleman was the chair of the task force.
Oh.
Mr. Willie Brown.
Oh, okay.
We spent a year.
Actually, it was a year and a half.
A year and a half getting it together, talking about the issues with the police force, and what we're seeing in the community. And this was almost 4 years ago now, right?
All right, so this
And
is,
so this gentleman was actually booted off the task force for, well, you know, there are a lot of other things going on.
all right, so our first ask will be a reinstatement of the task force and a reinstatement of Willie and a reinstatement of Willie Brown on the task force. And we need the task force to have support. If you're going to have a task force, you got to put some resources behind that with a staff and people to do manage your work, kind of work. So a reinstatement of the task force and resource so it can work. That's an ask. Are you putting that down, Tanita? Yes.
I wish I kept my note, or brought my notes from Thursday. I was at a meeting on social justice and police accountability on Thursday. Which church was that at?
It was at,
Presbyterian
a
Church
Presbyterian church of
off of East 55th.
yeah.
Had the great opportunity to meet Tamir Rice's cousin, and a few other people from the ACLU, and they talked specifically about setting up a community policing division similar to what Cleveland has, but having a budget behind it, having subpoena power, and having citizen review. And so that is an entirely citizen-based, with a budget, with subpoena power, to be able to do the reviews that we need to do in the community of the police force.
Okay, so maybe we add that to the task force with the power to review these particular cases and resources to do that. That's one ask. We want to ask for investigation, internal investigation of the police department, as well as from the state and county and even the federal government. But it started with the internal investigation with a conclusion. So they should be getting this information themselves. That's number 2 ask. And we want her to respond within a set of days. And Bishop Macon, is there anything else that I'm kind of, before I, that we want to make sure you ask? Yes, Attorney.
You want to ask the mayor and administration to conduct disciplinary hearings and investigations regarding every officer's use of force.
Did you get that? Say that one more time, Tom.
It appears to me that the officers have not been disciplined or ran through any type of disciplinary procedures. And so I think we should ask for an investigation of each of the officers that have been involved in the use of force in the last 5 years or whatever the term it may be, and to have disciplinary proceedings brought against the officers. In the city of Cleveland, if this happens, the officers are investigated, he's brought up on charges, he's suspended, and he goes through a hearing process to determine whether or not he's fit for duty. And this should be happening in Euclid to these officers.
Same rules apply.
The 3rd ask. Yes, sir. Brother Lockett.
Yeah, you talk about asking, why not demand? Because when you demand, you're looking for a response.
Well, we're gonna do the soft ask first. Ask her to respond within 10 days. If she doesn't, then we'll come back with a demand. That's the king model. So we're gonna do the asking. So we did the research, we did our homework. Now we're asking for a change. You don't do that, then we're gonna be demanding for one. Yes.
So, Pastor, one of the solutions that the mayor said she was going to implement to improve police-community relations was a program called Procedural Justice. But when I met with her, they are not serious about implementing that. So I think they need to actually implement fully the reforms that they said they should.
Implementation, you're getting this, Tanita, implementation of the procedural justice plan. Implementation of the procedural justice plan. That's right.
You just said, the